Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky, and today we're doing something a little fun. I got a little inspired because I was digging through the makeup archives and all that. I've been rearranging and reorganizing here in the studio, and yeah, all that will be listed linked in the eye if that interests you. But yeah, considering the holidays are upon us, I thought I would dig out a super old Christmas palette and do a look. I don't remember what year this came out, but we're gonna play with this. I actually don't remember the proper name of this palette. This is an old Too Faced holiday palette. Back when I used to think these were just the coolest thing in the world. It is this one right here. I cannot remember the name. It was something to do with Paris. But yeah, I think we're gonna play with this today and try to create a look. I did spritz it down with some alcohol just for safety reasons. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into a look. If that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so yeah, we have the Too Faced. I think this is like the Grand Paris or something like that palette. I really don't know, and it is not written on the outer component anywhere, or on this little, it's not written on the palette anywhere. If I still have pictures, I'll insert what the whole thing looked like, because it was the cutest collection. I think it was one of the cutest ones Too Faced did. It was Parisian themed, very Versailles themed. I was all over it. I loved it. I was so excited to get it. It was one of like my first like higher end makeup purchases. This was probably 9 years ago. So I don't know if this palette's even going to perform that well, but we're going to try it out and see. And it's a nice selection of colors. I mean, we've got some stuff to work with here. Do I know if they will actually perform anymore? No clue, but we're going to try it out and we're going to see if we can make a look out of this palette. I just thought it'd be really fun, especially revisiting what I'm going to call this, what gift sets of holiday past, or yeah, something like that. We're getting visited by the ghost of Christmas past with some holiday palettes. And boy, I don't think the quality of these were ever that great, probably. And my taste in eyeshadow has definitely gotten far more refined since I got this palette, obviously, too. But I remember it performing okay. I know that the blue shade in here and the purple were duds, but I recall everything else performing alright. And yeah, we pretty much have a full face in here. There's a highlight, there's a very orangey bronzer, 2 blushes, and you know, the eyeshadows and some shades up here. I definitely used the heck out of this palette when I first got it. So alright, let's make a start here. Let's try to create something. I'm going to start with the E25, and I think I'm going to take the shade called White Christmas, which is just a matte white, and we're going to bring that across the brow bone. I have already primed my eyes and put brows on, and here's hoping this does not irritate my eyeballs. I did sanitize, so here's hoping. And I hope these shades actually do anything. If we have trouble with this one, I do have another holiday palette we can whip out, because I'm really not seeing anything from the white shade. And I didn't swatch any of these, so I have no clue what we're getting. Alright, let's go into the shade called City Lights. I feel like that's a good starting place. It is the warm peanut butter type of brown shade right there. I remember feeling so fancy though when I got this palette, because I thought I was just this was like the height of Too Faced, by the way. Like, this was right before the whole peach collection came out. The chocolate bar palettes were like everything. It was exciting when the holiday palettes came out. Alright, so this did pick up on the brush. Let's, oh, okay. Yeah, that's still got some pigmentation. We'll bring the rest of that over here. Start working that through the socket. Let me know if you have this palette or any of the Too Faced holiday palettes, and if you still reach for them. Like, I know they have like the gingerbread palettes and all that stuff now too, and the pumpkin spice palettes. I haven't really been interested in a Too Faced launch since the chocolate gold palette, I think. which I still have and still love. But, you know, talk about a brand that really, to me, fell off. I think it was when they sold to whoever, the parent company. They just kind of got, all right. I think the same thing happened to like Urban Decay. Anytime these brands sell to the bigger companies, everything, the creative direction kind of goes to crap, for one thing. But I like when Too Faced would do like the cutesy stuff like this, or the kind of pretty packaging. I don't like their overt sexual stuff. It's something about when they do it, it's icky. I don't know why. It's just kind of like, ew. But like when NARS does it, it's like cool and edgy somehow. But with Too Faced, it's like kind of gross. I don't know what that is. So I never cared for that type of thing that they've done. But like every now and then they would come out like this beautiful packaging for like their lipsticks and blushes. And it's like, oh, it's so beautiful and sweet and pretty. And it's such a, I don't know, but their general aesthetic really isn't my vibe. I don't tend to go for like really cutesy makeup. But occasionally like something's just pretty. And I don't really love like super themed out makeup that feels seasonal either. So that's just another thing. That's just me. All right, well that did okay. Let's see if we can deepen that up a little. There's a matte brown in here called Belle Femme. Oh, everything's like in French in this palette. Bear with me with that. It's a dark brown shade right here. Let's see. We can use that a little bit tighter into the crease. I'm going to switch to an E27. Let's see if any of that's going to pick up and do. Yeah, I feel like Too Faced like just overplayed their hand with the over-sexualized makeup. Like, okay, you know, that's a bit much. Like, okay, it was cute every now and then. But some of the, what was it, like, I can't remember who they did the collection with. It was like maybe the Real Housewife or something like that. And it was just very gross to me. I was like, oh, come on. I did see that the guy that used to run Too Faced, Jared Blandino, whatever his name is, he has a new line. I believe at Ulta. But it looks like Too Faced. It's like, why do you sell a brand and then start something that looks exactly like what you sold? I don't know. At least like Urban Decay, the founder, she went on to do something totally different with Callie Ray. And same with Bobbi Brown. Like her makeup that she's released independently has been very different. Jones Road. It's a whole different vibe. But I don't understand why you don't want to just keep copying what you already did. They also have like a jewelry cleaner, the Too Faced guy. That's doing okay. I mean, it's deepening things up. Too Faced is one of those brands that like when they did it right, they did it really right with formulas and palettes and stuff. Like it would be just amazing. And then when they did it wrong, they did it like real wrong. And now I feel more like they're just kind of just mediocre all around. Just kind of whatever. They exist, they're there, but they don't interest me. Like I don't even want to, like, I don't know, they're very boring to me. Whereas Tarte will still like catch my eye and these other brands will, and Urban Decay occasionally. Too Faced, I'm just like, it looks just like what you already did. What was the last good palette I think everybody said was the Born This Way palette. It's all the neutrals. It does look nice. Enjoyed their products from time to time. They had that peanut butter jelly or peanut butter honey palette that I wanted to love so bad, and I think I remember liking it initially and then getting a palette not long after that was basically the same color story and it just blowing it out of the water and being like, what is this garbage? It's like sometimes I would wonder, like, did anybody even quality check some of their products, especially when it comes to the holiday launches? Like, does anybody even quality check this stuff? Because I just watched some of the later ones in store and looked at just because they were cute or whatever, and just nosy. I'm nosy, and it just I'm like, did anybody even like approve? Like, who approved this? Who said this quality is worth selling for $50-something? Get out of here. Anyway, this shade's building nicely. I guess people aren't really into these holiday palettes like this anymore either. They feel like something you buy a teenager now. Whereas I feel like earlier on in the beauty space, they didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like they didn't feel as cheapy, I guess. I don't know. Either that or just things got so much better that I don't know. I think they do obviously cut corners on the quality of these palettes as far as the formulas go. Different factories and whatnot. Because they're cash grabs. That's what they are. They're cash grabs. And sometimes you get suckered by the cute packaging. Which I did with this. Totally. Absolutely totally did. The box it came in, I think it came with a mascara and a lipstick. Which have long since been decluttered, obviously. But the big box it came in opened up like a dollhouse. And it folded out and had like pop-up, like 3D dollhouse looking stuff, and it wasn't particularly Christmassy looking, like if something you could kind of have out year round. And I just thought it was the cutest thing, and I was just so in love with it. But also just goes to show you, your taste change. I thought it was so precious then though, and I had it on the top of my little at the time I had this desk that had an upper shelf on it, and I had it on that, like one of those like hutch type desks. And I had this whole little like makeup village basically of packaging I liked and stuff. And I still kind of have something like that over in the corner on my makeup archives. I'm just gonna blend that out a little bit, but that's doing good. I mean, obviously the pigmentation's pretty soft. They do feel a little dry. I mean, but I think they might have been a little dry to begin with, and I just didn't know any better. That is one thing too, is that I think my makeup knowledge has grown, and my tastes and formulas have improved dramatically. I just don't think they really put those good improved formulas in these holiday palettes like this. And I'm not talking about like holiday releases in general. I'm talking about like these particular ones that Too Faced and Tarte put out. I know a lot of people do like the holiday looking makeup, and I don't love it because I'm not going to want to use it outside that holiday season. I don't want to use a Christmas palette in February, you know? And so I don't want holiday theme stuff. There's a few themes when it comes to makeup that I'm into. I don't care for licensed stuff that much unless it's just an IP I really care about, which isn't very many. I like when things are Wild West cowboy themed in makeup. I like bee themed makeup and snake themed makeup. Occasionally stuff like that, but I like things that are kind of evergreen, that it doesn't feel weird to me to pull out year round. And it shouldn't matter, but it's what goes through my head. That looks alright. I mean, that's not bad. It's okay. It's okay. What do I want to do now? I'm gonna take a little bit of the bronzer shade in here, which is called Sun Bunny. Okay, that was... Do they still make Sun Bunny? Whew, that's messy. I feel like that bronzer still exists. No idea. And I do like the random one-off Too Faced products in my collection that I've acquired and still use. Like one of my favorite glosses though is a Too Faced gloss that I don't even think is available anymore either. This one, I just love this shade. This is Stocks in Bondage. It's just a pretty kind of neutral brownie shade with glitters in it, and it's just so pretty. I love this gloss. And see, I think this packaging, there's something cute about it, but I don't know. I just don't want things that look like kids' makeup, I guess. I'm not a cutesy person, and yeah, that does determine whether I want to buy an item. I know you should think about the formula and the product within, and it shouldn't matter what the outside outer component looks like. But when it's with a higher end brand, it's kind of an investment. I'm like, all of it has to be working for me. Drugstore's a different story. I'm taking some more of that City Lights now. Just kind of want to tuck a little more of that in there. But I do remember creating some beautiful looks with this palette and really enjoying it when I got it. Like, being like, oh, this is all the colors I would ever need. Send me then, who is already hoarding and collecting palettes. But yeah, we're on to something here. We're on to something. As far as the shimmers go, that's where the duds are. The mattes in here are fine from memory. But the real dud was the shade Midnight Paris. Like, it really didn't do a whole lot, and I don't think it will at all now. I mean, even just on the finger like that. I remember trying to use it with a glitter glue and kind of getting it to work, and it just... Come on, man. Come on. The shade Eiffel was beautiful, though. I remember loving that shade. Let's see. God, everything feels really dry. Let's see if I can get a little swatch Eiffel here. Ugh. Oop. Nope. Nope. Definitely not holding up. Man, that sucks. That shade used to perform better. And the purple in here, just very muddy looking. Purples have definitely come a long way. So I think we'll avoid those shades because they're not playing well at all. I was actually thinking about using Eiffel. So let's try this shade called Daylight. Dreamlight. Let me see how that... Okay. Oh, that does good. Nice smooth kind of coppery dark shade. And then there's one called Yule Log that looks quite pretty. Oh, it feels dry. Okay, it's more of a matte with some glitter in. I think we'll go with a bit of Dreamlight. I'm going to take that also on the E27. I just thought this would be kind of a cute idea, though, just to revisit these palettes. Just to see how I feel about them now. Because I honestly cannot tell you the last time I put this near my eyeballs. Years. And that is not doing nothing on a brush. Hello? There we go. I'm gonna let that softly sweep. In there. It's weird that a lot of the shades in here almost have like a blackened base. Like they're just thinly pigmented. And I know I've used good quality Too Faced eyeshadows, so there's definitely a discrepancy. Like if you pull out one of those chocolate palettes, like especially the chocolate gold, it's stunning. It's stunning in comparison. But I want to see if I can just like make it work, you know, and try to do something pretty. It's just a fun little challenge to myself. Why? Entertainment purposes only. I don't recommend you going whipping out super old palettes unless you sterilize them. And to sterilize like a powder palette, put alcohol in a spray bottle, spritz it over, let it dry overnight. Don't saturate it though, but like give it a good spritzing. It will over time dry out the shadows, but if you really need to sanitize a palette, there you go. And there's some palettes I've had that I have sanitized 110 times and have been fine. There's some that immediately just was like, oops, I just ruined that palette probably. It will eventually start to change the formula, but especially your working makeup artists, you gotta sanitize them. So you don't really have much choice. Let's take a little bit of that Yule Log and let's see if we can build a little bit of that in there too. Oh, well, that looks nice on the lid. Adding some nice depth. Definitely get a little pigmentation from it. Pretty. As much as I don't want to like purchase these palettes anymore, do you know how much joy I get watching Emily Noel buy these palettes and try them out, the new ones? I freaking love when she goes through all the holiday palettes and tests them out. I don't know why, but I thoroughly enjoy watching that. Because I'm nosy. But I don't want to spend the money on the palette. Alright, that's actually looking pretty nice. I'm not mad about it. Let's try some of the gold in here called Wish List. Oh wow, it still feels buttery, soft, decent. Okay, I think we can make that work. Still working on the same brush. I think I'm using, yeah, that E27. Still going in with it. I'm gonna take down this inner portion. Nice. Not bad. I mean, how often do you come across a bad gold eyeshadow, really? I feel like they must be really easy to formulate because they're usually like kind of the better shadows and palettes a lot of times. I don't know if I love the tone of this gold. Like, it feels a little too desaturated. It's not rich enough. That's what's missing in this palette. There's a lack of richness in the shades. They feel hollow. Very generic, I guess. But still, I mean, it's making a nice look. I can't complain too much. And considering the age of the palette, we will give it some grace for that as well. So I do remember this gold being nice. They're just not super pigmented, I guess, would be the best way to describe things. Just grabbing a larger fluffy brush. Give everything a little once over. And I want to go with this shade called Moon on Their Wings. Don't know what that means. It's a bit of a dry feeling shade. It's kind of a nice little champagne-y number with some sparkle in it. It's actually a pretty color. Like, if it was in a really good formula, that's a shade that I would definitely gravitate towards. There's something pretty about it. And I am making these work without dampening a brush or anything like that. I'm not doing anything special. Yep. Hello? I can't see that really on the lid. Yeah, a little bit brighter. Let's see what a little bit of this shade called Satin Sheets does. I know that was a shade that was in a multitude of palettes. And it's a pretty shade. There's a reason that one's in a lot of palettes. It's like pink with a gold shift, like a very, very faint pinky gold shifty color. Yeah, that looks nice right there. Yeah, okay, that kind of did something. Is there anything else here I can put on my eyeballs? Considering a lot of these shimmers are just not really performing very well, it really limits me to the golds. There is a shade called Arc de Triomphe. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not gonna pretend. It's just a really kind of pretty soft, cooler tone shade. That one would have been nice to use as well. I'm gonna pull in a little bit more of the Dreamlight shade. So I could try to bring a bit of that warm back in. It feels very desaturated, that's what it is. It's like you turn the saturation down. And then it probably looked like that originally and I just didn't know any better. Alright, big fluffy brush, taking some more City Lights. I'm trying to warm things up a little. A little boring, I guess. Just a bit boring. And there is a matte black in here. Maybe we can try some of that at the lash line. Deepen things up and get a little more glam. So I feel like doing this palette just makes you want to be a little bit glamish because of the vibe of it. Let's see if this black eyeshadow does anything. Oh god, it feels like pure chalk. Well, that was probably a little pointless. Oh, there's a little bit of it. Hello. Hello. Okay. I just need to get in there a little bit. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty generic look. Nothing special. Let's see if I can build up a little bit more of that Moon on Their Wings shade, whatever that might mean. That's doing nothing. Took some with a finger. Oh, that's just getting flaky and weird. Okay, we're just gonna leave that be. Maybe take some more of satin sheets. Gosh, this looks so washed out. That's the way this is feeling, very washed out. Like, why does half the shades have like a really just black undertone? Like not enough pigmentation of the mica, I guess. I think that might be as good as it's getting. Fun little journey down memory lane. It's more the bronzer. You know, from the same collection, they put out another little palette. So from the same collection, they did put out these little minis right here. I have the one that's got purple in it. That's just pretty fun, pretty. And I also have the one like this that has some shades that might help liven this up, because I remember these performing better. Let's see if we can kind of help things out a little bit with this little guy. But this was from the same launch, and you got 3 of these in this cute little house. It was adorable, and yeah, I have decluttered one. I'm gonna take some of this shade called La Femme. Let me bring a little bit of life in here. It just felt so desaturated. And this I did not sanitize. Oops. Oh well. Too late, because I wasn't planning on pulling this one out. Well, oopsie. I want to see if the gold in here maybe looks better. Yeah, it's a bit warmer. It's got a little more life to it. Yeah, okay. That's kind of improving things. It's got a little bit more oomph in it. Whatever. Anyway, we tried. So this is how things turned out so far. I'm going to clean up the little bit of fallout I got, and we'll be back for some lower lash line and finishing touches. I'll see you in just a second. Okay, we're back. I just finished up the face, contour bronze. Well, no, I didn't bronze. I just contoured foundation, concealer, and some mascara on the upper lashes, touched up brows. The usual, everything we listed like below that I used. Yeah, and I just added a little bit of eyeliner right at the upper lash line as well. Let's finish up this face and see if we can add a little pizzazz. I'm a little scared of the bronzer in this palette. The Sun Bunny bronzer. I think that's gonna be a little warm on me. But maybe with a very light hand, I'm just gonna touch it and tap off. And we can just lightly graze. Yeah, maybe. That's okay. It has a little bit of a sheen in it too. That's doing all right if we don't go too extreme with it. That is a very orange shade. Like, yeah. That's showing its age. That's definitely dating the palette, how orange that bronzer is. Bronzers just don't be looking that orange anymore. Thankfully. It's giving me Jersey Shore. All right, I'm gonna take a fluffy brush, a little bit of it on there. Just pull this out a little bit right out here. And lower lash line, I'm gonna grab a little flat shader brush, and I'm gonna take some of City Lights, like one side. And we're just gonna softly run that just right here. And I'm going to take a little detail brush and grab some of that darkest brown that we had used. Just build that up a little bit. There's a grayness to these shades. That's what it is. And not in a good, like, cool tone way. As in, like, there's just not enough pigment in there. Alright, I guess we can take some of, let's do some of that moon on their wings. Along here. Yeah, that shade just doesn't want to like lay down at all, really. It's just too dry. It's really too dry. Like, I guess it would probably benefit from a bit of setting spray or something, but if I've got to use a setting spray, that's already too much work for me. I want an eyeshadow to work without having to wet a brush or use a glitter glue. I want the eyeshadow to perform just with a basic primer and some powder on my lids. Like I don't want to have to work too hard. Unless I'm just being very careful, not wanting to get fallout or something, like later in the day if I'm just adding some glitter on there, it might dampen the brush, but that's the only time I'm going to do that. Like I want a shadow to perform on its own and not need extra help. I don't want to have to hold it tanned. And when you're buying particularly like a higher end product, you shouldn't have to. I'm taking satin sheets. Alright. I think that's all I'm going to do on the lower lash line. Like as good as she's getting, I'm put a little bit of mascara under there. And I don't think that it's like this palette has necessarily aged that bad. I think it was always pretty much like this. I just didn't know better formulas existed at the time, you know? This was like to me, I thought this was good because I didn't know any better. All right, let's do some blush. I'm gonna clean this little brush off and use the bronzer on. There's a blush in here called Stardust. It's like a coral shade. But in this other little palette I had pulled out, it has a really beautiful peachy blush called Mademoiselle that I think is so pretty. I actually do love that blush shade. So I'm going to use that instead. Yes, that's a pretty blush. Too Faced has always done good blushes. I will say that about them. Like I have their little blush palette that had all their blushes in it. It was like the blush wardrobe or something. I freaking loved it. I've always thought they had nice shades and yeah. Was it Love Hangover? That was like the shade. Like that's pretty. That's a good blush. Good blush. And we will use the little highlight in this palette, and it is called Flush. I don't know why they called it Flush. It's a highlight. It's just a very basic champagne highlight with a kind of gold flash in it. What in the heck? Oh, I just got black eyeshadow on my brush. Oh no, oh no. Oof. Just trying to, how we can blend that away. I hit one of the eyeshadows. That's the struggle with palettes like this. Mindful of your blush placement. Whoopsie. You know, I used to love to take satin sheets on the cheeks as well. It makes actually a beautiful highlight. I'm just gonna make sure things flowing together. I'm gonna take my powder brush. Face products look nice. The eyeshadow could definitely be better. The shimmers don't have enough sheen and shine to them. Like they're metallic, but are they metallic, you know? The colors are just very desaturated. That's, I guess, the best way to describe it. And all right, I'm gonna throw some lipstick on. This is a lipstick from a brand called Glips. This is the shade Boho Chic. It's going peachy. And I'm gonna throw for gloss over top. Where did it go? I had it really good. This one from Bobbi Brown. This is the crushed oil infused gloss. All right. Free the hair. Okay, and I think this is our look all complete using the Too Faced, whatever this palette was called from Holiday. Gosh knows how many years ago. So yeah, I mean the look is fine. But with what we have now on the market, I definitely think I could do better. But it's fine. It was fun to just revisit this and play with it. Because it was something that like I was very excited about when I got it. And thought it was so cute and so pretty. Special times, you know, memories. Memories. That's why this palette stayed around in the collection. But yeah, let me know down below what holiday palettes do you still have in your collection that you kind of just can't part with or that you may still use. Let me know. And has any of these Too Faced palettes caught your interest lately? Like any of these holiday collections? Like have you been like, have you give them a second like look and thought, I might want that? leave it in the comments down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Yeah, and I want to wish you guys a very happy holiday season. All the things, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope it is fantastic, wonderful, loving time for you, and that you just enjoy yourself. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.